Welcome, everyone, to the Lakeline Podcast. We are joined today by Donna. She is the Executive Director of Weakday Ministries and has been so for the past 10 years. I don't know a whole lot more about Weakday Ministries than that, but that's what we're going to find out today. Donna, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Actually, the executive pastor.
Executive pastor? Okay. All right. Well, Donna's the executive pastor. We'll fix that in post. So what does that mean? You're the executive pastor.
Well, I started off as the executive director long ago. We've been going with Weekday we're in our 10th year.
10th year. Okay.
And executive pastor means I handle and direct, kind of cast vision and all the pastoral things.
What does all the pastoral things mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just opened up Divine 29 Christian Bookstore, so just leading in areas, for example, determining exactly what we're going to carry and anything just in leadership that pertains to, our ministry is pastoral. It is Christian.
You sound like a CEO, basically, is what you're explaining, but with a religious bent to it.
Right. And we have several pastors on our staff that work alongside of us at different denominations. They pastor churches in their area and then work with us also. So it's just kind of leading over our overall group.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So, because everything's just kind of an evolution. It's just like a business in a way.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. What were you doing? How did you fall into Weakday Ministries? How did you come up with it? What happened? How was it created?
Okay. Well, I right out of my undergrad, I went to seminary and I received my calling to go into ministry, and I'm now ordained clergy. Okay. But through that process, I was actually serving in a local church I started off associate pastors and then senior pastors at churches. And, on Sunday morning, I'm looking around and my passion was church growth. That was just one of my biggest passions. And my kids were small at the time. And I was convicted every Sunday because I was missing a lot of their events that were happening, especially on the weekends. But I also noticed we always want younger people in the church because that's kind of the way that, the future goes.
Right.
But I understood because people I was trying to get to come to church were in the same boat I was. They were at their kids' sporting events, or they were out of town, or things would happen. And so I remember on Sunday mornings, right before we were dismissed from church in our benediction, I'd be like, go out and be the church. And I kept thinking to myself, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like to really go out and be the church? And not to mention, I know that lots of congregations have mission outreach and things that they try and reach out to the community. But I would think that most pastors would agree that there's just some things that, we can't do all things, right?
Right.
So for me also, I had a lot of close friends that were different denominations that we would never really, unless certain other like there's Emmaus, things like that, we would never really worship together.
Right.
And I thought, So it kept pressing on me to start this out of the box ministry and go to people where they are during a busy work week, during the week, and what would that look like to kind of be out of the box with the church and do ministry just a little bit different than Sunday morning.
It sounds very different to me, because you're basically saying, like, what if we get rid of the church building and we just make the church wherever it is that it needs to be? Well, in a way, is that correct in a way, or?
Yeah, well, we need the church. And so it's like, kind of, how can we help bring people back to the church? We're expecting them to come into that building.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's really important to meet people where they are.
Yeah, sure.
And it's a process in that discipleship during the week.
Yeah.
So also, too, I'm not called to be a school teacher, but I love their schedule. So when we started Weekday,
there's so many school teachers that are like, it's not that good. They're so mad right now.
But I was feeling that okay, I want to be the mom I want to be for my kids.
Yeah.
And then I also want to be the pastor I want to be.
Yeah.
So how can you have the best of both worlds? And then this just nagging in my heart of that conviction I was having. And so I remember praying about it, and I was just like, oh, I kept feeling led to do something, and I thought, okay, I'm going to answer that. So it started. I remember I brought up my closest friends in my living room and told them the idea. And I'm like, what if we did something during the week, hence weekday?
Okay. Got it. Love it.
I know it's spelled WEAK.
Yeah. Why is it?
But Philippians 4:13, I can
Okay.
do all things in Christ who strengthens me according to his purpose. And he gives us that strength in what he's calling us to do.
Okay.
And recognizing that we are weak without Christ.
Yeah.
And so the plan words, plus when you Google it, nothing else comes up.
Right.
Weekday Ministries
Yeah.
with an A.
As long as you spell it right. Yeah.
Right.
I can tell you, I didn't the first time I looked you up. I was
And
like,
so I brought my friends especially, and they've been on the board ever since 10 years ago.
yeah.
And they go to a different church, and I told them the idea and the vision, and then we started. And what we started at was a coffee shop that was just being built in Burnett, actually Mojo's.
Yeah.
And at the time, you'll see those picnic tables, and they're outside.
Yeah.
So I started with a Bible study there.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking there was like 3 people that came, and I was like, oh, good, because I was serving full time in a church. And I'm like, well, this is going to take a while to kick
Yeah.
off.
Right,
But I'm being obedient. I'm
Yeah.
being faithful
Yeah.
to what God's calling me to. And so then we started this once a month worship service, but we did it on like Labor Day.
Okay.
And then we would have, so it's like, what would you be doing on Labor Day if you weren't working? You'd be
Right.
like barbecuing with friends.
Yeah. Big grilling problem.
So
yeah,
we got together, did a bunch of food, provided free, and
Yeah.
had a joint worship service outdoors somewhere in the community. It was, we first started at a hotel.
Okay.
We would do at a local park or things like that, and provide food, and people would come away, and we would give them like, kind of like when you go to a party, like party favors.
Yeah.
But they had scripture, they had something to take with them during the week. And then things began to build from there. And
Yeah.
then I ended up doing this full time. And
So the initial vision was more about outreach and bringing people together from different denominations. Like I'm a confirmed Catholic, and like Catholics don't talk to Baptists or whatever, all that stuff goes on, so you bring them all together. And that was the initial vision, which like, because as I know you now, you have all these different things you're doing and providing clothes for kids, and you go to various communities that need help, and not necessarily help, but like you help them worship and stuff and pray, and you go to businesses. And I'm not real sure, we'll get into it, but it's interesting to me that like the original vision, there's not even like, you're still doing it, but there's a lot of other things you're doing. So initially it was literally just, how do I get to people and give them a space to be able to learn about the Word of God
Right.
that fits them, because you were a busy mom and you knew that. So that was the initial. Right.
well, and I worked full time. And so when
Yeah.
people work full time, they don't always have a flexible schedule to say, hey, we're having our Bible study at Tuesday at 11 at the church. Come.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So
I
what
run
we're-
into that problem all the time, because
Yeah.
whether it's like Rotary Club or anything else, they're all like, yeah, you come at noon. I was like, on a work day? Like,
Yeah.
how do you do that? And, figuring it out slowly but surely, at some point you get big enough that you can do that stuff. But it's really important. And I think what you're doing is a huge thing with churches, because even for me, like, going, and I know there's all these options, right? There's Saturday night and Sunday morning and and all these various things. I'm like, none of those are that appealing for me, because we're always, like you say, at your kids' stuff or all that. And then
or
maybe,
you're exhausted.
yes, you
by
get
it.
your one date night with your wife on
Yeah.
Saturday, and then you're just tired. And Sunday is like, I haven't done laundry since last Sunday, so I need to do it today. And then you just don't want to get into all this stuff. And so I really think your idea that of like, well, we could worship at any time and let's find something good. Like, that's really good. It's odd because like, it doesn't sound like a revolutionary idea, but you don't see very many people doing it, which is what most revolutionary ideas are. They're simple. So that's interesting to me.
Well, and as clergy, we're in clergy groups.
Yeah.
So our goal, we're not a church,
Yeah.
but we function to help bring people back to the local church, but then
Yeah.
also work, like you said, during the week. For some, weekday is their church because
Yeah.
they're, for whatever reason, they work on Sundays or, whatever the reason is, or in transition,
Yeah.
we're kind of there to aid people where they are. And
Gotcha.
that's really the mission, and help fill the gaps.
And what does that look like? Like what, like give me an example. Like where do you go? What do you do? How do people reach out to you and ask like, hey, can you come do this? Or how does that work?
So over time, now there's lots of organizations. They do joint worship services occasionally. I know there's Route 90 that just started. They do a monthly thing. There's just that kind of where we developed over the years. So you had said the clothing ministry.
Yeah.
So you think about, in my mind, how I created, and everybody's like, you've got so many ministries under one.
Yeah.
But when you go to a church, depending on the size of the church, there's multiple programs. Because we used to have like a once a month women's group that met. And where those things kind of evolved or changed over time was if the church nearby or whatever was happening was satisfying, and I felt like everybody could go to a community thing, then it's like, okay, where is the next gap we need to fill? And then there's some ministries we have that, like I was saying, the clothing ministry, that have continuously filled the gap. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a concrete thing, unless no other child needs clothing.
Yeah, that seems like an identity defining thing for y'all. Like your initial idea seems obvious now, what you wanted to do. How did you then say, well, these kids need clothes?
So, and also too, I probably should say our mission statement, which
is
to bring Christ to people where they are during a busy work week and help provide for underserved children. Okay. So that is the mission.
And that was the original mission statement, or did y'all come
about several years ago? We tweaked it a little bit, but that's been it's really been the same mission ongoing, bringing Christ to people where they are. We defined it because we used to help people in different areas, and over time in our community, there have been other nonprofits that have been able to come in and kind of fill the gaps, but we have decided to focus strictly on, with the clothing, it is providing brand new full wardrobe for children in need, where we serve probably, it's Burnett, Williamson County, a little bit into Llano County, Kingsland. We want to expand, but it's just a matter of financial. So each child we serve, depending on the age, can be anywhere from $100 to $250, depending on their size.
What's the full wardrobe mean?
So each child, and we work closely with counselors at the school district, or we have a parent referral. We serve all of Head Start twice a year. All those children through Williamson County get a full wardrobe. So a full wardrobe looks like brand new tennis shoes, socks, underwear, obviously brand new.
Yep. Can't use used. Yeah.
And then they get an set number of outfits for the whole week. So it's like a week's worth of clothes. Depending on the season, they'll get a brand new coat. We also include toiletries. And I can tell you that what we're finding in that, and we work alongside like opportunities, and we really partner with a lot of organizations to help. But what I've found, it's not about, so people might think, well, why not give them a bunch of used clothes?
No.
And we can do some gently used, but there's something about, and I was one of them growing up. We didn't have a lot of money. And you and I talked about this on this last podcast that we did. It's not about, oh, you got to have the latest and greatest, which we know everybody wants.
Right,
But there's something to be said about that confidence and fitting in with their peers. I mean, they have enough to worry about and they're struggling. And so it's like giving them that just leg up to say, hey, this is one area you don't have to worry about. I know we serve like CASA students in need and foster initiative, but it's like there's some cases that and we do provide, I said the full wardrobe, but if there is a need, like through CASA, or there was one child that needed equine therapy, so we provided a certain pair of boots that they needed.
Yeah.
It's really, how can we make that child feel like, hey, like somebody that has no idea who I am, they care enough to make sure that I can feel confident in my day and secure. And what we found, what's interesting is these children don't know about Weekday Ministries, but there was one year we got thank yous from some of these kids, and I can tell you that every thank you note had a cross on it.
Oh,
And they
really?
talked about
Yeah. That's
it,
amazing.
and I can say firsthand because when I was starting, I was around high school age.
Yeah.
I was going to church at this one church, and they were dressed fancier. This church, you wore,
Yeah.
you know,
Nice
the full
clothes.
nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys in suits. And
Yeah.
I didn't have those kind of clothes. And I remember the pastor's wife took me shopping.
Okay.
And and it wasn't just anywhere. Like it was like really nice stores that I'd never been in. And I was thinking, she's gonna spend all this money on like, you know, like I would, and we didn't have it to spend.
Yeah.
And so, and I still have some of those items. And the reason I kept them, I really can tell you back then, it wasn't about the amount per se. It was more for me. It was like, wow, like she wanted me to feel good when I walked in there. And there was something about, and she treated me like she would treat herself or her children and what she would buy for them. And that's really the principle. When we have over 70 volunteers and they go out shopping for these kids, and their mindset, I mean, they're budget shopping so we can provide more for children, but it's what would you put your own child in? Or and that's the love, and it's conveyed. I mean, through these kids. And our executive director was a former, you know, she's a retired principal.
Yep.
And so she can attest to before, because we started this when she was there, and the mission was, hey, what are kids needing in our community that maybe isn't getting served? I'm thinking it's food, and here it's clothes. They're coming to school and their dads or their moms like clothes, and kids are making fun of them. One child couldn't play basketball because his shoes were Crocs and they weren't. So we got him basketball shoes, and then he ended up trying out for the basketball team. I mean, it's just like helping children where they are too. And
Did he make the basketball team?
I think yes,
I think he did. Yeah. Okay.
He did.
Good.
And I think you may have known of that story. So
Okay.
it's powerful.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, so like you mentioned, you get a lot of like, do you ever, and this will be a weird question, but do you ever have kids that are like, they don't really want it, or that they're concerned about it, that like you have to like talk to? I don't, you know.
So another option that we don't just go shop randomly, because like we all have styles, right?
Yeah.
And if you so some kids want athletic wear if they're in sports, and some are in FFA, and there's a difference in like kind of so they get to fill out, or whoever's filling out on their behalf likes that they like, even toddlers. So if they love Smurfs, I mean, we try and really look for like a Smurf, like little, we have gotten some.
How many Smurf lovers?
Okay.
That was a crazy example.
I know. Well, hey,
they might love Smurfs. Do you love Smurfs?
I did when I was little, because that's how old I am. Okay. Smurfs aren't around anymore, probably. Okay. Well, what's, okay. And I
whatever
was
they
gonna
like.
say,
I was going to ask about it because one of the things that I grew up in a family of boys, right? 5 boys.
Right.
And with my dad, and then the only girl I knew was my mom, but it was my mom, you know, she's not a girl, she's my mom. And now that I have a little girl, girls' clothing is so complicated, because what is one size and one brand is different in another. And then also it's like, because like guys' clothes, it's all just like loose and comfy, which it's good to be a guy. But then for like, is it hard to find like specific clothing for every type of kid, body type of kid, and all this stuff? Like, or is it's just not an issue? I don't know.
Well, so I'm I'm only a shopper if
Yeah.
like they're super desperate, because
Yeah.
I did it one year and that's not my gifting.
With 70 like volunteers, like, do
Yeah.
you still need volunteers? That sounds like a lot of people to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because we clothed 1,000, I think it was 1,035 kids last year.
Okay,
So
good.
you think about shopping for, it's a lot. And these
Yeah.
shoppers, they go out and sometimes shop for an entire school
Yeah.
at one time, which is
Okay.
about 60 children. I
When you're
think.
saying they're shopping, where are they going? What are we talking?
So we have a setup, and we try and get with the stores to do tax exempt,
Yeah, tax exempt.
and be
Yeah.
able to provide for more. It just depends on what they're. A lot of times, some Walmart, but mainly going into Austin, we have like cleared out. It depends on what the child their liking is. A lot of them go into Austin, Ross, things
Yeah.
like that, things
Yeah.
that we could find. And occasionally, like there was one child long ago
Yeah.
that I shopped for when we were first starting out, and
Yeah.
she had never had a pair of Converse, and her mom had said, so I was able to find Converse really inexpensive at the outlet mall.
Yeah.
I think it was. But this was a special case because we don't always get to see like their response, but the mom sent me a video of her, and oh my gosh. So
She was so happy.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Converse.
Yeah.
But like that was she
Don't
was
smirk-
so
besmirch
proud.
Converse. Converse is
I
great.
I know. That's probably why I'm like
Yeah.
booted out of shopping,
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
so-
That's like when
so-
I was a kid. I always wanted a pair of PT Flyers because of the Sandlot, and that's what Benny wore.
Okay,
And,
I remember
yeah.
that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes you jump higher, run faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I get that. And when I was a kid too, I mean, it wasn't like we had like no money, but we weren't like super rich. But I remember when I was in 7th grade, I wanted a pair of Nike Shocks. They had
Yeah.
just come out, the little spring Nikes. And, we couldn't buy those. They were like $150. And this was in like 2002 or something. And then my uncle got them for me. I want you to know, they're the most hideous shoes. Looking back, they were like just all silver and ridiculous. I thought they were the coolest things I've ever worn. And so that was one of the things when I found out like about what y'all do. I've always cared about like my clothes and my shoes and everything. And I don't really know where that came from, but finding out y'all did that, and I know just how important that is to those kids. I bet the letters you get are incredible. Like, and that's probably the whole thing that fuels everything, because as you've grown, and you could speak to this, like one of the things that can happen, and I'm curious if happens with Weekday, as you grow and you get bigger, it'll feel a little less like a ministry and more like a business sometimes. And there has to be like touch points that you have to like keep that feeling going. Does that happen at all? Or does it still feel like so ministry and not business, because to me, it's like the letters are, that's how I remember why and what I'm doing and all this, and not spreadsheets about outfit costs and all this stuff,
Yeah, and that in you to like just serve all
Yeah.
day. But the reality is, the more we serve,
Yeah.
the more financial we need. And
Right.
I wish that someone would just like drop like a bunch of like all of our funding on our lap
Yeah,
right now.
Jeff Bezos drives through Burnett, and it's just like,
Yeah.
what? That place looks like a good place.
Because I'm like, gosh, if we could just focus on that portion.
Yeah.
And I get it. And so, yeah, having to do, and now we've come to the point where we have expanded so much in our outreach that it's like, how do you figure out, we don't want to we have to raise the funding.
Right.
But when you're a smaller ministry, and I wouldn't say we have several people on staff and things
Yeah.
like that, but how do you figure, there's a balance. It's like, well, we need to have the funding to continue the mission,
Right.
but so we're trying, that's where we're at right now. Like, how can we
Yeah.
be smarter about getting that funding
Yeah.
so we can spend the most time on our mission?
Because you always hear about the nonprofits and charities that it's like, if you give $100, $90 goes to administration, but you don't want that, right? Like there's this balance to it. And, I don't know, like, how do you think about that? How do you because say it's, oh, I need to hire another employee. Well, it's like, well, that's going to be 30 grand, like for a year or something. And that's how many outfits and all that. So like, how do you weigh that kind of thing?
So for the longest time, for
Yeah.
about the first 7 years of our ministry,
Yeah.
we operated with just myself and volunteers. So we had no
Yeah.
overhead. We didn't pay anybody. And if
Yeah.
there was times that I just couldn't do it all, so
Yeah.
we would hire like as part-time as possible
Yeah.
and keep that. But what I found is you can only ask a volunteer to do so much. And we
Right.
have so
Yeah.
many great faithful ones, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're giving their time.
Yeah.
So we have a couple paid staff, but even in that,
Yeah.
like a lot of them work beyond to just
Yeah.
continue the mission. So it's one of those things that, yes, and even in a nonprofit, if you're going to try to reach more and expand,
Yeah.
you do have to put in some funding for that.
Right. Yeah.
And however we get, I mean, it just depends. We have volunteers come and go. We've had some that have been with us the whole time, 10 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of these volunteers volunteer in other organizations. And so we just opened Divine 29 Christian
Yeah.
Bookstore. Well, right now I'm in charge of leading that. 100% of the profits we make go back to serve the ministry.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding too is that balance. Like, okay, I got to get more people coming in because
Right,
the
yeah.
more like people are utilizing these gifts, and we have all these it's a true Christian bookstore.
Yeah.
But then the profits we can really put them back into. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, if it costs $250 for a child, and you were asking earlier, I don't
Yeah.
know I'll tell you about the difficult ones to shop
Okay.
for.
Yeah.
But think about it. If we profit, for example, $1,000 in a week for the bookstore, well, some of that we have to give back for taxes and sales tax.
Right.
And then you have to take out if we need to restock on some items.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the profit of that, so, I mean, if we could even bring in 800, that's if we had to clothe a child that did cost $250. I mean, that's
Yeah.
2, maybe 3, depending on children. We could
Yeah.
just have served more just from that week.
2, maybe
of
3,
people.
if you made that, and then times 52 weeks, but you serve 1,000 children and all
Yeah.
that. I mean, some of it, there's something, and this might be changing the subject just a little bit. This area to me is always very interesting. I love Burnett County. I love all this stuff because it's like, it was the Wild West, and it still is in a way. And so everyone here is very like, we don't like taxes. We don't like, we love people that help themselves. We love all that. But there's this interesting dichotomy because I've grown up here. At the same time that they say all that, they're some of the most giving and helpful people that I've ever met too. And so I feel like you're in this great little like petri dish of like, because you always need volunteers. And there's all kinds of places you can be that like you probably wouldn't get any, like
Right.
barely anyone would do it. And so it's this really, it's one of the reasons I love Burnett because it's like not everyone, but it's like crusty, like not in a good mood people. And you're just like, oh, what are you doing today? And they're like, oh, well, there was a fire in the neighborhood and we're helping them, get everything together. And you're like, you seem like the meanest person I've ever met, but you're not. That's what this area is. And I love that about it. And so like, what is it difficult for you to get how do you have 70 volunteers? It's crazy. Like, that's amazing. Like, do you ever think about that? And you're like, how?
One of our things, and I don't know, I think it's us as a whole for staff.
Yeah.
And I can speak on behalf of them as well. But just like you, it's like we met through our business group, and now you're on our board, and all these service, and it's all about like real relationships. Like our volunteers, I don't know all of them now personally because we have another lady, Hope, that in our ministry that takes care of our volunteers.
Yeah.
But she's really adamant about making sure like it's not just, oh yeah, come volunteer. Like you become family. Like it's like, how can I pray for you this week? Like she knows what's going on with these volunteers, what's happening, and we do a lot of appreciation as much as we can, but it's more of a family thing. It's like
it's a genius thing. You're giving community,
Yeah.
which is what you're doing in your ministry anyway, which is something that, and maybe this is just something that I've seen, that is something that has really fallen apart. probably even since I was a kid. I mean, in the 90s, it still felt like it was there, but because everyone getting so busy with all of the sports and the work, and you have to have mom and dad work and all these things, the community falls apart. You don't have a neighborhood. You don't, all of my friends live in all kinds of different places. I don't see them. There's no community. And so it's almost like what you were doing was like you saw that need, and it's awesome. Like, it's this really good idea.
Well, but it's for real. Like, a lot of these volunteers, I mean, I'd say that most of them are friends outside of Weekday
as well.
on top, because you become friends. You're serving alongside each other, and it's real to us. It's not like, oh yeah, you're just another volunteer. No, I mean, we think of them
because
outside
it's a problem that I see, whether it's, there's also just a lot of people that just aren't religious now and everything. And you see that, and whatever that is, whatever, that's fine. But the problem is that they then are not going to a place like a church. It is a community. You need it. We as human beings, like, it's a need, and no one's really participating in that anymore. And I feel like what you did was like, you saw, like, you felt that, at least in some way, or God was speaking to you or whatever it was, and called you, like, how do we fill this gap that has been filled for thousands of years with religion that suddenly now isn't fitting with modern life, but it's like, it still should. And, God's telling certain people, like, help me with this, because we need people to still be in this and to have community, because it's healthy. Does that make sense?
It does.
I might be rambling on. I don't know enough.
No. So another two ministries we offer.
Yep.
You talked about the business.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a lunch and prayer program where we would bring catered lunch. Like you said, I'm working at 12. We would come to your business, set time. It's not just random.
Yeah.
And once a month, and we have a team, a specific team of volunteers that come, and some of them are clergy from other churches, and we bring this catered lunch, and we do a quick 30-minute devotional, and pray with the business, and then we leave, and we let, like, say it was you, you eat with your staff, and it may be a quick blessing. It may just be that, but I'm telling you, over the years, and then they have a chance to pay it forward to another business, or we can connect that business to what we're doing, or who's on our team. If they have something going on in the church, then that business is able to give back to their community through us. So we can help incorporate them into, hey, can you collect brand new packages of underwear for these kids? And then they're suddenly giving back. But then also what happens, we've actually had someone come to Christ on a staff at a business.
Really?
Yes.
I was just going to ask that, because I was like...
I'm telling you, there's been so many examples, but he pulled me aside after everybody left, and he said, hey, I just wanted to tell you that I've heard about this Jesus thing. And he said,
I love it.
I'm telling you. And I said, yeah. And he said, I've thought about it. People have told me about it for years, and I wasn't ready to receive it until I heard that message today. And I am. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it's like,
it's like a supercharged.
Wow. And but then there's been so many other examples. We've had, employees come up. They were just whatever it was. There was one year that was diagnosed with something, and we were able to pray, but we didn't just drop them from there. The relationships continued. In fact, one of the businesses, C&D Appliance, Ken, they were a recipient of that. He's been on our board. He's a board member ever since. He's active, and we work together. And
what are, like, and I don't know if you would be able to answer this, like, the businesses that want that done at their business, like, they're like, hey, we want to come in, we want to do this prayer, all that. Like, what are they hoping to do? Like, do their employees ask for this, or is it just like something? Some
people are nominated. Some people, like you, would nominate. Hey, I really, because it's weird at first. People are like, what are they gonna do?
Right.
It can happen many ways, but really and truly going on our website and just filling out a request form, or just going and contacting us and saying, hey, I want to know more about this business thing. Yeah.
Do you see a lot that it's like there's been some tragedy or something? And like, to me, it'd be like one of my employees has a family member pass away or something like that. And then I'm like, maybe we should all get together. Like, is it like that? Like, it's interesting to me.
No.
Because you're taking time out of the day.
It's
You're
really a
doing all
blessing
this.
for your staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also what can happen, because we decorate, we make it look, we
Yeah,
make people
okay.
feel special.
All right, cool.
Because that's what I would want when I'm at
Yeah.
work. I mean, it's like, wow, they cared enough to stop in the middle of their day. And some of our team, like they have full-time jobs outside of ministry. They leave during the workday, but it creates real relationships too. Because I'm telling you right now, like my dentist, my eye doctor, like all those things happen because of this, where we have our building happen because of this lunch and prayer program.
How did you get that building? And it's right across from HEB in Burnett, right?
So,
like it's on 29.
yeah, the lady that had the business before was, she was nominated, and we were going in there and ministering and doing our program, and we got to know her, and she said, hey, I'm going to be closing this business down. I'm moving, and you should, y'all should have it. And I'm like, no, I mean, and the seed was planted. So she went on, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to, but you know, and one thing after another, and we were in prayer. We had already started carrying a coffee line.
Okay. Yeah.
And we talked about different merchandise. We had some merchandise we'd bring at our events and things. And I remember several years back, gosh, maybe it was longer than that, there was a Christian bookstore in Marble Falls. And I was clergy pastoring a church at the time, and I frequented all the time. Yeah. And I was really sad when they closed. And I know a lot of things have gone online, but there's something about being in the store and looking through a Bible. Yeah. And because I order stuff online, I don't know about you, but it'll come in and it's like micro size, or I don't know what I'm ordering.
Yeah, right.
And through much prayer.
Yeah, I didn't know how many.
I'm telling you, I did not see this coming, because
I didn't know how many people bought Bibles. Like, well, not just bought Bibles, but it's like, I always thought it was like, because they're fancy. There's fancy ones. And I'm like, they buy that one. And I'm like, and you're good, right? Which shows how much I read my Bible. Because I tell people about, there's this Weekday Ministries, and they're selling Bibles and Christian books and all this. And they're like, oh, good. I've been needing to get another Bible. And I'm like, another one? Are they different? And they're like, well, you use it so much that it starts to fall apart. And I was like, yeah, I do. And it made me feel a little something about it. Well, but I didn't even know. So like, I've never thought much about that. I'm like, how does a Christian bookstore even stay afloat? And I've learned a lot since, being on board and meeting you and talking to people about Weekday and all this,
So in reference to the Bibles, yes. Yeah. Well, I have to admit, I have to refrain myself, because I have several now.
Is it?
And I'm I'm not allowed to buy anymore.
When you go into church with an awesome Bible, is that part of it?
No. So here's the thing. So, I think probably more vintage might be really cool. I've had this Bible for over 100 years.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Well, so now they have so many, they have a parallel Bible that you can compare different translations on the same page and see the different ways that it's translated.
That's cool.
There is a journaling Bible. There is pretty ones for teenage girls that, anyways, and the list goes on. So I think it's just meeting the need. And then also too, when we have a podcast, Jesus Loves Joe. Yep. That's another thing we do to bring, and it's really real life, real people. Yep. And I've been on it. It's great. You have. Yeah. That's another thing. Yep. And the last thing we do is apartment ministry. I'll talk about in a minute. But point is that when you're preparing for things, if you're going to speak, or if you're going to be in a Bible study, things like that, depending on which translation, there's, King James, New King James Version, there's different versions. However, it can be preference. Some people have come in and say, hey, my pastor is preaching from this Bible, and I want to be able to follow along. It shouldn't be that different, but some of the wording, or if you're reading that day in church, but also too, it kind of helps with perspective on if you're preparing for something. If the New Living Translation, for example, can help put it into today's terms. So you can kind of compare what exactly, if you're stuck, what they're saying. We also have some light commentaries that you can dive deeper into the meaning behind it, the historical context, things like that. Study Bibles have just different devotional sometimes, or they'll give you, I mean, oh my goodness, we could be here another couple hours.
Right,
I
right,
won't
yeah,
keep
of all the
going,
different
but
things. I have no idea, but yeah.
but what's really neat, and I never thought, and I say I was taken by surprise because in this portion, when we talk about pastoral ministry, I get to have people come in and I get to help. I know they're always looking for something. Even if they say they're not, they're looking, there's a purpose, you know?
Right.
But what's so cool is I get to assist them to help grow closer to Christ.
Yeah.
And what they're buying or who they're buying it for, and the conversations and ministry takes place. And it's just it's a different avenue, but it's so awesome.
Like,
So
and you haven't been in, like, have you gotten a volunteer from it before, or like, do you think that will happen? Have you had that happen? You haven't been open super long, but
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you would think we'd been open forever,
Yeah.
but we haven't. Just a couple weeks,
Yeah.
and in that I could tell you, like, I've met like 50 new people, and
Yeah.
you know me, I like always talk, and people are always my friends, and
That's why you're the face of the place.
but yeah, we've gotten people. I'm working on integrating some volunteers into it.
Yeah.
We can't have. I mean, you have to know how to work the register. There's a lot of time-consuming things that go into it.
Yeah.
And then there's, you want to be able to have some knowledge to help people when they're in there because, but yes, definitely some volunteers have been amazing. In fact, I know Casey Perry, her, having boutique experience. If it wasn't for her, like she helped us set up, I had no idea how to run.
What you were doing.
Yes. Like I now know how to work like systems and Shopify and all that, but oh my goodness, the hours. And then there was another, Rachel, she owns a boutique still in Bertram, and they just came and they just helped me. And it was awesome because I don't know how to set things up in a store to make it look. I'm all like, Bibles, this. And they're like, no, you got to kind of stage it.
I mean, you act sort of like surprised that people come and help you. Every time that we talk, you'll be like, and she came and it was crazy. Like, I will tell you the other side of it, which I like am a little bit of a cold-hearted businessman from time to time, right? And you know that from me. Like, I'm very like dry in that way. But I feel like I get more out of helping you out than you get from me. Like, I feel better about myself. I know I'm doing something good. Like, a lot of it's pretty selfish reasons, but they're still good. Like, I'm still doing good with them, So, like, these people, you shouldn't be so surprised that people want to help because it feels so good to help. And the reason it's so good with you is because, like, there's a lot of things that you'll volunteer for, give money to, or all these things that are disorganized and just nothing really comes of it. Or you may just feel like nothing's getting done. Whether, like you say in the very beginning, you're like, I got 3 people, and you were so excited, right? Most people, you get involved with something like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, like nothing's happening. But with you, like anything that I give feels like it gets amplified, and I take all the credit for it. Like I'm just like, yeah, without me, like, but that you shouldn't be surprised that people do want to help, and I think your storefront is so great because it will allow people to come in, see who you are, meet you, hear the story and all this stuff. And it will help accelerate some of the things, the pain points that you would have, which is finding volunteers, hopefully getting funding, things like that. Like, I think that will be a very big deal for you. And one of the things that I've learned about you that I know about you and people will see in this podcast too, is like, I don't know if you think you don't deserve it or what, but you're always like, I can't believe it. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a great person. Your family's amazing. Your friends are amazing. Like, who wouldn't want to be around all that?
I think it's just, I don't know. I'm blown away, and I appreciate that, but I don't feel that way. I'm more like, there's hundreds of things to get involved in. And I think it's more, I'm surprised, but it's pleasant surprise. I'm joyous. I'm so grateful because it's like when people show up and when needs get met, it's like God answered that prayer. And I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to.
You're so close. I can see it.
I know.
I can
so
sense
stop.
it. Okay.
But but it's just, I guess because it's real to me. And I very passionate about and sincere and with people and authentic. Like I don't walk around being like, they should help us. I mean, it's just, it's a blessing.
But it's like,
a blessing.
Every time I talk to you, and I usually let the guests talk for the most part, but every time I talk to you, like, it's like you don't even understand how great the story is. like, oh, I got out of undergrad and I was doing some pastor stuff. And I was like, oh, I need to meet people where they are. And we started out and it was 3 people. It's not a big deal. And then you always skip and you're like, now we give clothes to 1,000+ kids and all. And like, it's insane. Like, and it might not, like, the great thing about you, and the reason I think you're a good figurehead for it, is because like that, it doesn't feel like you're doing enough yet to you.
No.
That's what it feels like. Like you're like, oh, we're still like nothing.
Yeah, we
And
want
it's
to
like,
reach Johnson City.
Yeah.
We want to reach. There's so.
I mean, you can dream bigger in Johnson City, but yeah, that would be good.
I say that because there was that we're trying, but
Yeah.
but financially we can't.
Yeah, you got to
But,
grow organically for sure.
But yeah, and it's not about I was just like that desire, that passion we have to like. It's like sharing the gospel. You don't want to just keep it right here. It's
No.
like we got to go forward, and it's so exciting. But yeah, I think it's more I'm just in awe because I'm just like, oh no, where's this going to come from? What's going to happen? And then somebody comes just unexpected, and it's like I'm here.
Well,
and
because
I'm
as
like,
much as you're looking for people, they are looking for you. Like I can't, and I know everyone wants to say things about this, but between running a business, my wife being a theater teacher, my daughter is a type A, like extrovert to the extreme, and we're just busy at all times. And I, like most sane people, like want to do good in your community, right? But I don't really have time for it. But what I do have time for is for the little things that I do for you. And you act like it's the world, which is also very nice. It, stokes my ego.
It is.
But those little things I do, like you're just the conduit. You're like a force multiplier for like people wanting to do good. And you need those people in the community so much. And you don't internalize that almost at all, which is probably good in a way, like because you're always striving for more and you don't get satisfied with it and all this stuff. And that's great. But that's how someone from the outside, and that's always the thing, like you never know, like you know yourself, but you don't know how other people think about you. That is how other people think about you. You are like a force multiplier for good. Like put in a little and she puts out a lot. Like that's what you do. And
That's awesome.
It's incredible. So I don't want to be like too nice to you because that's not my thing. But but that's what it is. That's why I got excited about it. I've never we're big supporters of the Humane Society here in town. That was our thing. We didn't really have anything else. And then when I met you, it was like, and everyone knew who you were. Like my wife and all my friends and stuff. Like I'd be like, oh, yes, we know who that is. I'm like, really? You're like this famous person I didn't know about.
Wow.
And so, yeah, no, it's really good. So I think it's good that, you want to expand and go further, but I think it is also good to recognize that your story is wild just up to this point. You could make a pretty good movie about what you've done to now,
That's awesome. Well,
and that's one of the things, just, even, because people won't know that we've known each other for a little while. That's one of the things I've always noticed, like, take some credit every once in a while. Like, it's pretty good.
I mean, God gets all the glory in it. But I will say, like, I think it just continues to amaze me because I'm human and I'm trying not to worry. I know we're not supposed to worry, but, things will happen to where we're like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And then God comes and
figures it out.
So that's the, oh my gosh moments. Cause I can look back on that and say so many times, like where we have fallen short or we're like, how are we going to pull this off?
Yeah.
And God sends people and
Sends people in.
that's the, like, I don't know.
It's the fun part of it.
Not going to cry again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is like the third time in this podcast you've
because
almost
you're like,
cried.
I'm like, yeah,
I'm so
like,
eloquent.
speaking from my heart, but,
yeah.
and it just, and I look back to of how I grew up and where now, like I experienced a lot of what we serve. So the last part of the ministry that I really haven't spoke on is apartment ministry.
Yep.
And we used to go out and like, oh, let's just help anybody with a need. Well, that's like, no.
That's
so we
crazy.
had to,
Yeah.
well, what we were finding is there were some in the apartments that were we were helping financially. So at first we were like, okay, can we come in and do a small group, like a Bible study? And they're like, no, but you can talk about assistant programs. So we did.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, they're like, we'll take that Bible study. And that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, you got to get your foot in the door.
And so this small group, became this family outside of church. Some of them are already connected into church, but some of them physically can't go to church. Like they can't
Yeah.
leave their apartment, or they don't have a vehicle. They don't have them. We've created some ways to do
Yeah.
that. But
And the online church, I mean, it's fine, but it's not like person to
so we
person.
go to them.
Yeah.
We're trying to expand that. So we provide the study. We buy the study each year that they decide, catered lunch. And you know,
Oh.
and then there's a drawing, and they have a gift card.
Yeah.
And then we do a Christmas party. But whoever wins a drawing gets it. And I can remember, I no longer lead that portion of the ministry. We have another staff. But I can remember when I did this drawing. It was an HEB gift card. And the lady's number that won, she almost like tears started strolling down, and she said, I didn't know. And she visits the food bank, but she was like, I didn't know if I was going to have enough meat this week, but now I can. And so they come away with, I mean, at Christmas time, we get them all things, of course, but it's a direct just line right then and there. So yeah, if there is a need, if we resource them out, like, you know, hey, I'm struggling to pay my electric. So, and we do, like, sometimes
How do you
we
even
pay
get
their
in
rent.
contact with this? You're like, oh, we do apartment ministry.
Lunch and Prayer, that business. It was a business that owns these apartments.
Yeah.
And the lady approached me and said, hey, there's somebody in this, in the apartments that I manage that has multiple types of cancer. Can you help them?
Yeah.
So we went there. One thing led to another. We started, and then started developing real relationships with these people.
Yeah.
And we
So
were
you go to one
ministering,
person,
and, we were
and then
going,
all their neighbors are like, this is cool. Can I
yeah,
come?
so then we're like, hey, I want to be here. We want to be here for y'all. And so we would connect them to church. And there's other resources. So if we can connect our friends that offer these resources, we do.
Yeah.
But, and that's just it. It's just incredible. And a couple of those people have offered to come help volunteer in the bookstore. So yeah, they're going to have, you had mentioned that. But
Wow.
I'm just saying, if you just step out and you're, I mean, the focus is the gospel, like God works through all of that. And all of a sudden it's all connected. And then before you know it, it's like, I mean, I could tell you just an incredible story about our executive director and how that all came to be. Probably another episode.
Yeah.
Gonna be here
That'll be all right. That'll be all right.
but anyway, so that apartment ministry, I mean, that's continuing. So all of these ministries under one, and then the bookstore is one of our in fundraising that, but you know, what we're finding is we're trying to just sources of funding so we can continue to, it's not that, but expanding, but you know, this takes funding to continue to help. And,
it absolutely does.
but
Which is, the thing is like, I know where that money goes. And so giving money to Weekday, just, it feels different than a lot of things. Like you hear about all those ones that 90% of it are gone. And so I just think, and that was part of the reason I wanted you on this podcast. I liked being on your podcast. I'm glad you'll have that. And that outreach and everything is like, if people can know what y'all do and how it works, I think, you know, because as giving as everyone around here is, they want to know that it's going to something that is local and it will be used correctly. And I think you'll do that perfectly. And I'm kind of like a crusty old man. I'm like actually 90 years old. And like, and so like, if I think that, I think other people will too. Because I'm just constantly suspicious and everything. It's probably part of being a millennial. I don't know. But I'm suspicious of everything. So I'm just like, oh, this nonprofit, I bet this lady has her own jet. Which, no, not at all.
well, and yeah, no.
And you're a normal person. That's the other part. A lot, you make it very approachable, which I love. When you do these apartment ministries, when you come to the businesses and everything, you know, my experience going through the Catholic Church and everything, it can get, and it's supposed to be, it can get like kind of preachy, and it gets so like nestled in the dogma that it almost isn't approachable. And Weekday makes it like approachable to me. You know, you speak in normal language, you're normal people, you have your normal problems and anxieties and all these things. And you also are like, you can take these things from the Bible and it's like, how do you apply it to real life? And you're just like, well, one of the ways is I can clothe kids. And one of the ways is I can bring ministry to people that can't be there at the normal times. And another way is like, you're just like this little fountain of like good ideas to help bring people back to something that has served humanity really well for a very long time. How do you have, I still don't really understand the process because the kids get nominated and all that, but that's like, you're serving 1,000 kids.
Well, it's not nominated. Well, I guess it's nominated.
Or
But it's like, so we have online forums, right, on our website.
Yeah.
And we've created them tailored to specific needs. So, for instance, BCISD children, the counselor or administration goes in and they put in the referrals. They get delivered there. We do have a building we work out of by Burnett Administration.
Yep.
And it doesn't have heat or AC, so we have to be mindful. But that's kind of our warehouse to where we can gather the items and distribute them out. Sometimes parent referrals will come pick up there. Yeah. But most of the time we're delivering to the schools. Yeah. And so there's different. So Head Start has their own system to where they can input the children, and we have forms. And then we did notice we opened up to parent referrals because there are some parents that don't want, there's just that.
Well, absolutely.
Prideful.
That was why I was curious about it, because I mean, if you don't have money, the last thing you want is for anyone to know that you don't have money.
Some people are,
you know? So,
but CASA and
it
things
can be hard
like
to help
that.
them because you don't know,
Yeah, so there's like different cases. You can't just like lump one sum of kids into this group and say, okay, this is like CASA. There's like obviously.
Give me a list of the goth kids.
There's obviously like this need, that needs to be quick. But I'm telling you that's how great a need.
Now, do you ever have to, this is the darker question. Do you get a lot more nominations and submissions than you can serve? Or are you actually able to serve the ones that you get?
Up to this point, we have been able to serve the ones that we receive. We've not turned a child away, and it's really heart-wrenching if we have to. I don't know what I'm going to. We don't want to. We will dig into like our and a lot of our volunteers and staff do sometimes dig into their own pockets to like make sure this gets covered. Yeah. But it's getting a little scary, not gonna lie. God's gonna provide, but we're getting to where there's a bigger need for these kids. We get some examples too. I mean, we've had some children that they're homeless. Some kids at a certain age can refer themselves. We try and stop about 18, but if there's some case that we take
extenuating
it case
circumstance.
There's been some examples where we've had to provide for children that all their clothes, they needed clothes immediately because rats ate their, there's really some sad extenuating circumstances that we don't just stop there. When those cases come in, we are like, hey, now we're going to get you help this way, and this way. And so we refer to our partners. And
it's absolutely remarkable. You've never had to like turn someone down and have been able to do that. Like you're like a better executive than you think, if that's the case.
I don't think it's in our nature, like our staff and all of us. I think I would be, I know. So we realized that, we're going to have to do more than just one fundraiser a year now. And we've recognized this, and we're working diligently to like get more funding. Mm-hmm. But I keep thinking to myself, and I don't think like, we can't go serve. Like I said, we can't expand yet into Johnson City. Yeah. So I know there's kids, but like kids that come to us, I don't think. I think I'd rather eat ramen than not for like a week. I don't think that could be.
Number one, ramen's amazing.
I know.
I still eat ramen. How dare you?
I know, but you know what I mean? Like I would,
I know what you mean though.
I would miss a meal before we would, and I know our staff would too. I know they would. So,
Incredible. That is an incredible story. You're doing amazing things. I hope some of this will help, inspire people just to at least come into your shop and try your delicious coffee, which we didn't get to even talk about yet.
I know, there's so much.
Yeah, we should. And we'll do another show at some point. But I do really appreciate you coming in and talking to me about this. Something I very much believe in. You obviously very much believe in. And I hope some good things come out of it. Thanks, Donna.
Thank you for having me.
All right.